Hey everyone, what's going on? It is Zach, and today we are going to take a look at the Pokemon that will come with Regulation D and the Pokemon that will still be in Regulation D to see, basically make a tier list now. So there might be something that I miss. There might be something that I say a little different. I might not have all the exact information, but if you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below of where you think everything stands or whether you agree or disagree with me. But let's jump right into it. Before we really get into anything, we gotta say Ursaluna is gonna be S tier. Trick Room's back in a big way. There's a lot of great tools for Trick Room coming down the pipeline. And here's my thing for Ursaluna. I think the go-to Terra might be Ghost. Hear me out. If you're going up against a mirror match, what are they going to do? They're going to click close combat. Ghost type is immune to it. Facade. Ghost type is immune to it. So you can do something like this. You can go Earthquake or High Horsepower, and then Shadow Claw. And Shadow Claw is going to be good for those mons that do Terra Ghost to try to get around you. That way, if there is Earthworm, because Earthworm is going to be big in this format, especially with dealing with Ursaluna, they either have two Terras, usually Terra Ghost or Terra Fire. Terra Fire we've seen more common. But I think with Terra Ghost being able to avoid the facade is going to be really useful for Earthworm. So I do think a Shadow Claw would actually be decent, but that's my hot take. But Ursaluna definitely going to be S tier for now. Where's Regieleki? Regieleki is going to be like, I don't know, like I want to put Regieleki in S tier. But it's still outsped by Bundle with Booster Energy. It's still outsped by Fluttermane with Booster Energy. So you could be running Tailwind with Regieleki, but either way, like Regieleki is going to be solid. That, and we're getting like reports that Transistor has been nerfed to be like 1.33 instead of 1.5 boost to electric type moves. So it's actually a little weaker. I think from here we can just start going down the line. Charizard. I mean, you already have a lot of good fire types here. You got Talonflame, you got Torkoal for Trick Room, you got Chi-Yu, Arcanine, even Armorogue. I think Charizard, like Charizard can work. And having the ground immunity is pretty good here, but it all depends on what you can do with it from there. Alolan Raichu. Alolan Raichu, I think Alolan Raichu is like BC. Because like Alolan Raichu here, it is a little bulkier on the special defensive side. It's just as fast. It does get access to Fake Out. And I want to say the only thing that's like really benefiting it here is it has access to a pretty strong Psychic to deal with Amoonguss. But that being said, with all the Rune Pokemon like going around, like I don't know how useful Raichu is going to be. Not to mention, its ability is pretty much useless for the most part unless you want to run a Pincurchin on your team. I could see some strategies going there. Not to mention losing Rising Voltage, losing Expanding Force. It's not going to be the powerhouse it was in Sword and Shield. It still could have a niche, but does it get Electro Webs? No, it doesn't get Electro Webs. So maybe like Fake Out Psychic Nuzzle, something like that, speed control. But I feel like Gyarados is doing the speed control very well. That being said, Gyarados, easily A. Gyarados has been seeing more and more usage. It has ground type immunities. It is bulky, it has Intimidate, it has Thunder Wave, it has Taunt. It does a lot for a lot of teams. I really like it right now. So Gyarados is definitely in the A tier right now. Alolan Jug Trio, D. When we look at it here, yeah, let's just get that out of there. When you look at it here, Alolan Dugtrio is slower than regular Dugtrio. It has a little bit more on the physical defense, but that's it. That's it. You do have Tangling Hair, but they're having the steel typing in some cases can be good, but there's so many good ground types that are doing good damage to you. Like, think of like, is Ting-Lu really going to care about a speed drop? Probably not. You do, just like regular Dugtrio, get access to Sucker Punch, so I mean that can be okay here, but at least with regular Dugtrio you can trap. Does Arena Trap, does that work for everyone? Unless they are airborne. So Arena Trap, like, I don't know, feels a little better than Tingling Hair, so it seems like regular Dugtrio isn't on here, and I don't think that's that big of a deal. Alolan Persian, I think overall I'm going to put it into B. Now, Flutter Mane really hurts it. But Alolan Persian has some really good tech with it. It has the ability Fur Coat and Technician. Like, you don't even have to run Technician. Like, in most cases with Alolan Persian, like, Fur Coat is better to get like that defense. And you have access to a lot of great tools. You have Snarl, you have like Fake Tears, Snarl, Parting Shot. Like, you can do a lot with Alolan Persian. It's just that, like, being a pure dark type is really gonna hurt it. But those teams that find a way to make it work, like, they're gonna do really well with Alolan Persian. So like, it's borderline A. It depends on how it's used. Arcanine still A. It has some competition with Gyarados here. Hisuian Arcanine. I think Arcanine, like Hisuian one, is going to be played like a little different. So it's slower overall for starters, but it has a little bit more like beefiness when it comes to the HP and the attack. So I do think most people will still use it with Intimidate. But then again, if you were running like the Assault Vest Arcanine, I think if you're running the Assault Vest Arcanine, like, this Arcanine might do better. Granted, you do lose to Palafin. And Gyarados is going to be kind of hard, but you do have rock type moves, and Gyarados is, since they are bulky, they're usually slower. So like, I do think you can easily outspeed Gyarados here. Base 90. I should know these. 81, yeah. So most Gyarados have been running like at most, like, I think like 28-ish. Let's check Pikalytics. Yeah, Gyarados is at like 15% usage. We got a Careful one. That's more of an aggressive one, but I don't know. I feel like the slower Gyaradoses have been getting a little bit more and more, but I do feel like you could set yourself up to outspeed a Gyarados, or even like use the Terra type. Go Terra Grass. Like, you're not taking any damage from Flare Blitz. You have access to Head Smash, which usually has 50% recoil. Flare Blitz has 33. You can go the Extreme Speed, and then you'd probably want to go Close Combat. You could run it like this. You could also still put on the Intimidate, but you probably don't want Rock Smash, like Head Smash and Flare Blitz in that case. So I don't know what you attack on then. What do the bulky Arcanines usually run? Flare Blitz, E-Speed, Close Combat. I don't know, like Snarl? I don't know. I do think there is a chance to see Hisuian Arcanine just as much as regular Arcanine, but I think for the most part, until someone figures it out, it's gonna be like a regular Arcanine is gonna be seen more. I should probably turn that TV off behind me. All right, next up, Galarian Slowbro. And is Slowking on here as well? No Galarian Slowking. We'll look at both of them. So Galarian Slowbro has more physical attack. It has a bit more on the physical attack, less special defense than regular Slowbro, but it loses the water typing, which water typing is like a pretty decent defensive typing here. You can have some benefit with the poison typing here. There's not a lot of poison type moves going on, but to get that with less bulk for Slowbro, I feel like is not beneficial. Quick Draw, you have a 30% chance to move first in your priority bracket with attacking moves. So you do have a built-in Quick Claw. And what is 20% chance? It's actually better than Quick Claw. That being said, Slowbro is seen a lot on Trick Room teams. So 35, you're still getting outsped by Torkoal, and then you lose like the water resistance. You lose the water typing to get fire resistance against Torkoal here. So, excuse me, like you could, you know, get some gimmicks with Sidearm Shell and Quick Claw, Quick Draw. But at that point, like you're depending on like rolls, like you're depending on RNG, which never feels great in a matchup. So first Seamon here, Alolan Muck. So Alolan Muck has the same exact stats as regular Muck, but it has the dark typing. So you're still taking Fairy neutral, but getting access to good like dark type moves like Knockoff and Poison Jab can put yourself in a really good position. There's also like the Acid Armor if you want to bulk up. But I like that it gets access to Drain Punch. So you could just run this as a very tanky Mon that just does a lot of damage, gets rid of items, tries to get those poison chances, and just stays on the field and like it's obnoxious. So all of its abilities is really good. So Poison Touch gives you extra chances of poisoning when they make contact with you. But I think here, like what you would want is like Gluttony. That way you can get recovery faster. Or if you are like, I feel like you can run Powers of Alchemy, but I feel like you need there has to be a method to the madness. Like you have to plan it out and you have to play your lines like really good. That's how I'm going. So the way I'm going to rank it is I'm going to have whoever's on the top of the tier is going to be in front. Golden Go's going to be good. Like there's going to be a lot more things that threaten it, but we've seen Golden Go get bulky over time and we've seen it still get played really well. A defensive typing does really well for it. Now we're on the ruins. Wo-Chan is B. Chien-Pao is A. Ting-Lu is A+, and I would have to say Chi-Yu. Like for me, Chi-Yu is at the top of A. Like these Mons are good, but what they do is they enable other Mons to do even better. Flutter Mane, you got your Dragonites and all that good stuff. Like those Mons are going to continue to be good and do lots of damage because of them. And I do think we might see some more Chien-Pao because we've got some flying types coming in. We've got some ghost types coming in. I feel like Chien-Pao is not done yet improving. Roaring Moon, some people like to call it Roaring Mid. I just think it like being Dark and Dragon in a Flutter Mane dominant like metagame is tough. Now there might be things that help deal with the Flutter Mane, but until we see otherwise, I would have to say B. Iron Valiant, C. I'm using one right now. I really like it, but it is like kind of like a jack of all trades, like master of none situation where it's a strong physical attacker, but it's also a strong special attacker, and its bulk is just nothing to gawk at. Tauros here. Tauros is, you know, D. There's no reason why to use regular Tauros over the Paldean ones. It's 10 points faster, but it's got like the Paldean ones have more bulk and they have better typings and more utility in like Aqua Jet, Will-O-Wisp, all that stuff. I want to put these guys, they're going to be right next to each other in C, because I think the Intimidate's good. Firebreed does decent against Flutter Mane, can be EV to live certain things, but I don't think it's worth it when you have Gyarados and 2 different forms of Arcanine in the format. Like, we have more Intimidate. Articuno. Let's look at both of them right now. We are a little bulkier here. Terrazzlization could do Articuno some good. It doesn't have bad defenses, but its speed is kind of mid, and you would have to figure out like the Terra type. It gets really bulky if like snow is up. But I mean, if you want a powerful Blizzard, just tack it on to your Iron Bundle. Ancient Power could be decent against fire type attackers and whatnot. Does get some utility like Icy Wind. It does get Ice Spinner as well, but it is mostly a special attacker. Haze, being able to fit a Haze somewhere on your team is pretty good. The one thing I do really like about all the birds is that they all have like Tailwind now. I don't know if some of them had Tailwind before or they only had it during certain gens, but like being able to have the Tailwind is really good. But I still think that Articuno is a D tier. Now, the Galarian one has a pretty decent ability, but in the Rune format, it has a pretty terrible typing. Now you could, you know, go the Terra Fairy like a lot of Psychic types do. Do you get Dazzling? You don't get Dazzling. Moonblast. Do you get any Fairy type moves? No. No, you don't. So if you did want to run the Fairy type, like you would want to go Terra Blast, maybe Trick Room. You can go Hypnosis. And then maybe like Calm Mind. But I feel like even then, you're still going to take a lot of damage. Having the less defense, like not getting the defense boost in snow. And it's pretty fast. I don't know. I can't see this one being that good. It is going to be better than Kanto Articuno. I will say that. Zapdos. The Zapdoses I'm excited for. So Zapdos has always had a good typing and it's always been pretty defensive here. And you can run the Defiant with the fighting and get a great giant attack and actually a little more bulk on the defensive side. But you're weak to Fairy. With this, Electric's only weakness is covered by the flying. So like in previous formats, Zapdos would go Life Orb. I do think Safety Goggles would probably be really good for it, and you want that like the static. We've seen static on we've seen Thunderwave on Gyarados do really well, so to be able to just randomly get a paralysis here and there would be really good. I was thinking with like its special defense, you could run Disquake with Tinglu. If not, like you would just go Thunderbolt, but you also get access to Hurricane. Hurricane is a really good flying type move, but that's mostly in rain. Without rain, you have to deal with the 70% accuracy, but I do like Zapdos has good coverage. I like Heat Wave, so you could deal with Amoonguss still, whether it's Terra Water or if it doesn't Terra in front of you, you can just Heat Wave with it. Good spread damage there. And once again, you get access to like Tailwind. So something like that, maybe like a Thunderbolt instead, and just make it really bulky and have it as your like Amoonguss answer. But yeah, next to Tinglu, like I feel like Disquake could be really good. So I'm gonna put Kanto Zapdos in... Do I want it in A? Bottom of A. I do think having a bulky Trick Room setter would be really good. And then you can do things with Ursaluna, you can do things with Ting Lu. I do think there's some good possibilities with that. Galarian Zapdos. Like I said before, the fighting type doesn't like do it justice in this format. You can do the Focus Sash. This also gets access to Tailwind. You can go Tailwind. But what I will say is that like the fighting typing is going to help with Ruin Pokemon. Thunderous Kick automatically dropping a defense is really good. And so I feel like if you're doing Focus Sash and Tailwind, you could try to run Acrobatics because it's stab, it's going to get double power. And you could go, what would you go? I don't know. I feel like you could kind of run it just Terra Flying because you need the 256 to outrun Regieleki. Can you do that, Adamant? No, you can't do that, Adamant. So you can go Jolly Tailwind and then get like a super acrobatics boost. I don't know. I was never good with Galarian Zapdos, but I do think it's going to be pretty good. I will put it above Muck and B. Regular Moltres, it just like it has too much in its physical attack. You can like bulk this out really well. I remember I used a rental team in Sword and Shield that used like the Assault Vest. You can get like U-turn. You can do Air Slash or Hurricane. I like Heat Wave. And I would say now like you could tack on Terra Blast to this set, but you're still not outspeeding much. Like there's still going to be a lot that does like good damage to you. Being base 90. I think it's better than Articuno. I will say that. The Galarian form though, the Berserk ability, like we saw this do really well in a Dynamax format. I don't think that's going to be the case this time. Fiery Wrath is going to be really good. I think now you can actually probably get away. I don't think the weakness policy is going to be a thing anymore, but you can invest like a decent amount into special defense and do a lot with that. And then usually, what does it hit? What does it hit at Timid? The 156. So like the Tailwind would just outspeed Regieleki. But then again, like I said, you still have to deal with a Booster Energy Fluttermane. You still have to deal with a Booster Energy Bundle. I do think it'll depend on what Terra typing this is sitting with. But I do like that all these birds got access to the Tailwind. So that's still like an option to play it bulky. And you do have options for Snarl and all that good stuff. There's Snarl, there's Nasty Plot. I think if you can make it work, you can make it work. If you can make Galarian like if Zapdos Kanto is going to be good because of its bulk, like Moltres Galar also has its bulk as well. It all depends on like your team matchup. Dragonite is still going to be good. Terra Flying, or Terra Normal, Multi-Scale, and it carries Earthquake, so it does have the option to like really hit Regieleki back. Next up, we got Typhlosion. Typhlosion, Hisuian Typhlosion. Regular Typhlosion has a little bit more HP. The defenses are all the same, and it's a little faster. I do think Flash Fire is a better ability than Frisk, unless it's like ladder, then like Frisk is good. You could see some choice specs are like Tailwind, Eruption kind of stuff. Eruption, there's also Infernal Parade. 30% chance to burn, twice the power if the target is RA status. So you can mix this up with you know, like your Thunder Wave, your Sleep Powder and stuff, and do really good with it. But I mean, even like you would absolutely still need Tailwind. Like Tailwind Eruption could be good here. I can see it being a little less useful than Charizard. They have the same stats. Do you get Priority Ghost? You don't get Shadow Sneak. For that then, and being slower, with that then, I mean, Azumarill, I think Azumarill is definitely A. It packs a lot of power. It can be really bulked out, and with Aqua Jet, you don't have to worry about like speed. Azumarill is gonna stay good, especially like I've went against the Assault Vest set, and that can be really good. Jump Pluff, weather is probably going to play a big role, especially with the chlorophyll users, but I do think, I don't know, it's just sleep is so good. Like with Jump Pluff does so much utility for the teams that work with it that like you do always have to respect it. So I definitely think it's an A. Murkrow is bad now. That's all you gotta say about that. We have prankster legendaries now. Like Murkrow is bad now. Scizor, it does have a lot. It has a plus, like it has a plus matchup into like Flutter Mane. It has close combat, which can do really good into the Rune Pokemon. It has Bullet Punch that can do really good into Chen Pao. That's about it. That's about it. C. I think I'm gonna move Raichu down. Tyranitar, good, bulky, solid mon. Weather setter, always gonna be good. I'll put it under Kanto Arcanine. Pelipper. Rain is very powerful, but a lot of the rain abusers like Palafin and Azumarill, they've been successful without Pelipper as well. So I think B. Breloom, I've never really felt threatened by it. It does get priority Mach Punch, but Ghost typing isn't going to care about that. It does get Spore, but it doesn't have the bulk to like really capitalize on it like a Moongus. I think C. Sableye has its niches with Quash. The only really bad thing about it is that there are like so many dark type Pokemon that do so well that like it's hard to really like warrant using Sableye. It has like different utility compared to Murkrow. So I would put this just like a spot above Murkrow because it gets Quash, it gets Will-O-Wisp, Foul Play, Fake Out. Like there is definitely some reason to use it, but when you're going up against your Tinglus, when you're going up against your Chen Pals, like what are you doing against those? Torkoal is A. It is the sunsetter of the format, but like I said a lot with like Murkrow and Jump Pluff, there are going to be mons that can set sun without the Torkoal. So if you're not running Trick Room, like Torkoal is not going to be your mon anymore. A lot of these Jump Pluff teams like brought the Torkoal. And what I do like about those teams is that they have a Trick Room option, which I do think is really good to have like multiple modes to a team, like one hyper offense and then one like bulkier like Trick Room one. But with the Prankster mons, like you're not going to need Torkoal as much. Bronzong, still B. The body press sets are really good. Hypnosis, Trick Room. It's really hard to, you know, stop a Trick Room against a Bronzong because it has so much bulk. But there is a lot that does really good damage to it. So you pretty much have to give up your terrestrialization in a lot of cases to do well with Bronzong. And sometimes you don't always want to do that. Garchomp is still great, still good. Is it above Gyarados? I want to say no. I would slightly put it above Arcanine, mostly because most Garchomps run Clear Amulet, so they can deal with the Intimidates like really well. Abomasnow, being our only snow setter here, there are some new mons that take advantage of it, especially with Trick Room. Looking at the Glacier, looking at the Avalugg, Articuno if you're crazy like that, but it's paired really well with Bundle, and I do like that it's got the grass typing. A good solid grass typing is really hard to find, so to have the option for Giga Drain or Wood Hammer if you want to go like physical, is still really good. That being said, like I feel like Snow has to be positioned really well. That or be the only weather. I think it actually has more utility than Pelipper. Like Pelipper has the wide guard, but when it comes to like being able to use a Terra offensively, being able to stay on the field, being able to get recovery, I feel like there's like, if played the right way, like Obama Snow does that better than Pelipper. What are they called? The Mine Trio. Like Uxie, I don't know. They get Trick Room. They have a new move. They have access to like fairy type moves, which could be good. They do have like solid. What does it compare to Cress? Oh, Cress just has so much more HP though, and a lower speed. Yeah, I feel like Cresselia just offers so much more for Trick Room. I don't know the big differences between these three, but I do think that you're probably better off using different Trick Room setters, especially with Cresselia here. Cresselia does like all their roles just a little bit better. Cresselia is going to be A+. Being able to set up the Trick Room, being able to have the Levitate so it can sit next to Ursaluna. Like I said, Trick Room is going to be back in big ways, and this is going to be one of the leading forces next to this guy right here. So Cresselia is definitely A. I will say probably bottom of A+. You're going to have to Terra it a lot. Like it's going to need like the fairy typing. It did also see like a stat decrease, but I don't think it's that big of a deal for Cresselia. You can always tackle leftovers with it, set up healing with your team, lunar blessings as well. I do really like going back to this big man here. In Trick Room, because of the way the speeds are with Cresselia, you can click lunar blessing, heal your Ursaluna, get rid of the burn, and then as long as you survive that turn, like the burn is going to activate at the end of the turn anyway because of the flame orb. So there is a way that you could use Cresselia to continuously heal Ursaluna, but not lose any of the boost that flame orb provides it. So I do think that's kind of cool. You can definitely like abuse that a lot. The Samurats. What's the stat difference between these guys? Okay, regular Samurott is bulkier physically and defensively. Where does it lose out? Hisuian Samurott loses out on special attack, and it gains more in speed. I do think sharpness is going to be really good here. There is the Ceaseless Edge that lays spikes. It all depends on like what it could live. It's definitely an assault vest user. I think the dark typing is going to hurt it, but having that Ceaseless Edge, that hard-hitting dark type attack, I feel like it would be really good. That being said, I think Hisuian Samurott is going to be better, but not by much. Resisting dark type attacks would be good here. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with like Samurott, like Unova Samurott being a little lower than Hisuian one. I do think you could do X Scissor and do like good damage too, but you can also tack on like fighting type moves. Like, I'm pretty sure you get access to Brick Break. Yeah, Brick Break and Sacred Sword, which could be good into the Dondozo matchup. So yeah, I think the Ceaseless Edge just and the sharpness ability. Does regular Samurott get sharpness now? No, it gets shell armor. So yeah, I think with the ability and the ability to set stealth rocks with Ceaseless Edge, I do think it edges out Samurott that much. Lilligant, Sun Abuser. Jumpluff kind of took the stage from it. That being said, it does have an Hisuian form, which I'm pretty excited to use because I feel like it would be a solid fighting type into the format. I think regular Lilligant is mid B because it needs the sun, it needs Torkoal. Hisuian Lilligant, I feel like if you want to run Victory Dance or something like that, it could do better. I feel like Azumarill should be higher than Jumpluff. Yeah, I feel like Jumpluff offers the whole team utility, where Lilligant is more offensive. Hisuian Zoroark. I do think this Mon is going to be good. Ghost in normal stops it from taking any damage from anything from Annihilate. So I feel like this is going to be really good into those Mouse Ape combos. Not to mention with Illusion, like you can be really taken off guard. But that being said, it doesn't do much to Annihilate at the same time. If that makes any sense. But like strong special attacking. Bitter Malice, which lowers attack, which could be really good except for against Annihilate. Dark Pulse. You get access to Nasty Plot. And then like Protect. So I feel like that could be really good here. It also, it doesn't take like Shadow Balls or anything like that. Like, so I do think this Mon is going to be used pretty well, especially at first. I think its unique position, it does it very well. I'm gonna put it above Jumpluff and Hisuian Lilligant. Amoonguss is just, it's A+. It offers so much utility. It does so much. Clear Smog, Pollen Puff, Rage Powder, Spore, like you can run Protect on it. Like with Terastallization, it becomes even stronger. Like it's just good. Hydreigon. Hydreigon is basically special attacking Roaring Moon. That being said, we really haven't seen much from it. I would put it next to Scizor. Move Iron Valiant up. You could still run it and be successful with it, but it's going to be harder. Volcarona. Is a B-type Mon. If you're not prepared for it, like it can do a lot to you. The Grass type Terra is really good with its range of moves. Yeah. And now we get on to the big scary boys. Tornadus is going to be A+. It's going to enable Mons to beat Regieleki. It has the ability to set sun. It has the ability to set rain. It gets like the weather. What was a Bleak Wind Storm is 100% accurate spread type move that has a chance to lower speed. Well, it's 100% in the rain. So I feel like this Mon is gonna do well. It's gonna stay doing well, and it's always going to be a problem. That being said, this version of the Mon, I don't think is as good. I'd put it below Alolan Raichu. It gets Regenerator, it gets U-turn, it's got the speed. It could be a mixed attacker, but I don't know. I don't think it's worth it compared to the Prankster. Thundurus is going to be almost as good. I wouldn't put it in the A+. It might boost up Arcanine because you can get Thunder Wave on Thundurus, and it's going to be Prankster Thunder Wave. That being said, it doesn't work against the Room Pokemon, so Gyarados might still have a niche. Eerie Impulse is going to be really good for dealing with Flutter Mane. but it's not going to be as good as it was in like the Dynamax format. Voltazorb with this one, once again, like not that good of an ability, especially with like electric types not being that commonly in the format. It has less attack. It does have 145 special attack, so I could actually see it doing some work next to Chi-Yu. I'll put it above Therian, Tornadus. Landorus. Landorus is going to be good. It's going to have Intimidate, Rock Slide, Earthquake, all this good stuff. Everyone's worried about the Terra Ice, the Iron Bundle, but like you can Terrasilize Landorus, so you're going to plan out for that. I do think the Sheer Force one is still really good. I would put it just in between the birds, in between Galarian Moltres and Galarian Zapdos, just because it has so much to it with the Sheer Force boost, and you could always use its spread type move. Like this could be a rain user now. Like this could be good in the rain, like a good Intimidate user in the rain, which is super weird. Chestnut, Grass Fighting, Bulletproof. There's not a lot of like moves. Bulletproof does block Shadow Ball, I believe. It definitely could have a niche here. I could see it getting used more than Samurott, Unova. We need more good grass types. Like it's just like a Moongus, and that's about it. Delphox, it can steal items. It does have solid special bulk. It does have good speed. It does get Dazzling Gleam, Mystic Fire, lowering special attack, maybe Calm Mind. I don't know. This could... the speed isn't bad. Like 104 speed isn't bad. It could honestly be like a budget Flutter Mane. You still have the dark type weakness, but I would have to say, because it's a psychic type, you'd probably go Terra Fairy. I could see it getting some usage. Greninja, I think Greninja's quick but too frail. You'd have to run like Focus Sash on it. It does get the access to Battle Bond. So what you could do is like, just like a Focus Sash user, definitely get Shadow Sneak. Shadow Sneak's physical. So if you ran it physical, its special attack's a little higher, but like its moves, its physical moves like Hydro Pump, Hydro Cannon, they're just not as reliable as its physical moves. You probably go Liquidation here. What dark type moves does it get? Like physical dark type moves? Just Dark Pulse, so you're not really going to take advantage of its dark typing. You do also get Protean, but I could see the Battle Bond like trying to get like a sneaky +1 and everything. I don't know. Above Chestnut, below Alolan Raichu. Talonflame. Talonflame's gonna stay good, especially having the Wisp. Like the Wisp is gonna help deal with Landorus. It helps deal with Ting-Lu. Like it has the taunt. It has the matching Tailwind. Carbink. I know Carbink is really undermined it. 150 defense, 150 special defense, Rock and Fairy, like that's good typing. Clear Body, which doesn't drop stats. It also gets Sturdy. It gets Body Press. Trigger Mind Defense, Body Press. Does it get a Recovery? It gets Rest. Guard Split could be really good. Misty Terrain could be decent. I think Carbink is, once again, like, Trick Room teams are out here eating. I do think Carbink is going to have a weird but great place in the metagame, especially with Terastallization. Being able to get a really good defensive type with sturdy and iron defense and body press, like it does everything Bronzong wants to do, besides like Hypnosis. You can just do Dazzling Gleam for like chip, or Guard Split if you want to be like really cheeky with it. But yeah, it does everything that like Bronzong wants to do, but better. There's definitely going to be teams that use it really well. Hisuian and Goodra, once again, another great body press user, has the same stats as regular Goodra, which I've noticed isn't on here. I do think the ground weakness is going to hurt it, but other than that, like it's going to be pretty good. I'd honestly put it next to Carbink. You can do a lot. Avalugg. Hisuian Avalugg. Less special defense. There's just so many good special attackers here. Like a good physical wall doesn't hurt. You could just do Assault Vest, but I feel like you're just... It's just like if you're using a Trick Room team, which you would want to use Avalugg in, like sure it gets slower than Ursaluna, but why? Why would you use this over Ursaluna? Bottom of C. It's not D. It's definitely not D because it could like you can't not appreciate a good physical wall. Hot take here. I think Decidueye has some room to be good because once again we need like solid offensive grass types, and we have the Hisuian Lilligant, and that's here or there. But what I like about Hisuian Decidueye is it's got lower speed. It's better in Trick Room. It's got more physical attack, less on the special side, which is good because Decidueye's always been really used as a physical attacker. More HP, a little bit more bulk, just less on the special defensive side, and Scrappy. So Scrappy allows Ghost type Pokemon to get hit with normal and fighting type moves, and it's immune to Intimidate. So I do think that Hisuian Decidueye can be really decent. It has the move Triple Arrows, which has a 50% chance to flinch, has a 30% chance to flinch, has a 50% chance to lower defense, and has a high crit chance. You put that with Leaf Blade, and like you could do something like, I don't know, like knockoff Shadow Sneak, or this should also get U-turn as well, like U-turn Shadow, or Shadow Sneak. Not Shadow Claw. You could go Shadow Claw, but I feel like having the priority there is a little better. Like this thing, like I looked at it, like if you Terra, you can EV it to live like Flutter Mane hits if it Terras with Assault Vest. So I think this could be like a pretty good mon here. Like being able to hit ghost types and lower defense. I do think it could see some decent usage here. I'm going to put it above Hisuian Goodra. Regular Decidueye, it gets stab on the ghost type moves. I don't think it's going to be as good. I don't think it's going to be as good as Scizor. I think it has potential to be better than Greninja. Lycanroc. Lycanroc is still good. It's kind of like a very linear style mon though. But it's enabled by Tyranitar, so like that's never a bad thing. Oh, Rillaboom. Rillaboom, Rillaboom, Rillaboom. Rillaboom lost Fake Out. It lost High Horsepower. No, it didn't lose Fake Out. It lost Grassy Glide. It lost High Horsepower. It still has Fake Out. It still has like good bulk. But it's not going to be as used. I would put it over Sheer Force Lando. Just because like most people are going to be running the Therian Lando. But I do think it still has a place. Cinderace kind of ran with Dynamax and Tailwind. Now that Dynamax is gone, is it going to be as good? Not really. Like, we have so many good fire types in the format. Like, the Protein can be good, but it's still like super frail. I think it's going to be better than Charizard. Just slightly. Inteleon, super frail, does have some solid moves to it, but I think its frailness hurts it. Like, I would put it right above, like right below the Prankstermons, because like the Prankstermons can do some of the things like utility wise that Inteleon wants to do. Hatterene, Trick Room Setter. More dark types are entering the format, but that could be good and bad for it. It's not going to be the best Trick Room Setter, but it does, like, once Trick Room's up, it does actually have an offensive presence. So I'd put it in B. Grimmsnarl, I think Grimmsnarl is going to see a little bit more usage. I've seen a lot of people play well with it. Pincurchin, the only reason why you would use it is for the electric terrain. Other than that, like, I don't see a use case for it. And DD Female, I do think it's A. I really do. It enables so much. And even if it's only around for 1 or 2 turns, like, it still like brings the momentum your way. Regidrago, it's going to be hard to be good in a format filled with Fluttermane. That being said, I think it's going to be C. The Urshifu Bears. This is Single Strike. Single Strike is going to be crazy good. The Steel typing, but you're gonna need speed control big time with it. You're gonna need to play it right. You're gonna need to position it right. It does get Sucker Punch, but I do think this time around, I think Water is gonna be better. Just by a bit. Not a whole lot. I think it's right behind Garchomp in all honesty. But I think the Water one's gonna be better this format. I did say that when they first came out in Sword and Shield, and I was wrong. Single Strike was way better, but I do think having the multi-hit is going to be better. It has a guaranteed priority, not like with Sucker Punch where the Pokemon has to attack. And I do think only having the ×2 weakness to Fairy instead of the ×4 is really good, and Water's like a good defensive typing. Glacier Air is going to be a good Trick Room on. Not as good as Ursaluna, but it's definitely going to be up there. It's going to be threatening. I'd put it in B. Spectre is not going to be as good because just run a Fluttermane. Fluttermane's faster. It does get access to Draining Kiss, but it's just like, it's so frail. I'd put it above like the Hisuian, Arcanine, and Typhlosion. Weirdeer, Intimidate and Trick Room could be really good. Normal typing. That being said, I do think there's better Trick Room setters in the format. I'm gonna put it in B. towards the bottom of B. End of B. Cleavor has some potential. Once again, setting Stealth Rocks. Once again, having Sharpness. That being said, with Urshifu, Rapid Strike coming in, with Gyarados being around, the rock typing really hurts it. I honestly think I'm gonna put it just one under Scizor. The Basket Legions, I'm gonna put them both in the same spot. I know they have different stats based on their gender, but Swift Swim is not gonna be helpful when there's so much Tailwind going on right now. And even with Tailwind, like, you would need to go Choice Scarf to outspeed your Regielekis, your Fluttermanes, your Bundles, and stuff like that. Like, even with Swift Swim, unless you're doing like Swift Swim and Tailwind, which you can only do that with Pelipper. Does get last respects, but with so much Dark type in the format, like, I don't know. Like, we haven't seen Houndstone get as much usage, and Houndstone isn't even on here. Okay. I'm realizing this list is not as big as it is. That's fine, because this recording has gone on way longer than I plan on it. I'd put them both in C. The more physical one, probably a little better. Sneasler. Sneasler, I think, is going to be good. I think it's going to be good. It's not going to be the best, but it gets Fake Out. It gets a chance to poison. It gets fighting type moves. Like, I do think this could be really good. You could do Focus Sash on Burden, which could really catch opponents off guard. Overquill, I think it does have a good typing. Does have Intimidate. I think you would... like, it all depends on what your team needs. Once again, just like before, like, even with Swift Swim and Rain, like, you don't outspeed Regieleki. So that's a big deal. What does Bar Barrage do? 50% chance to poison, double power. So it's basically like it's exactly like Infernal Parade. It does get the Intimidate, so I would put it a little over Hisuian Typhlosion. Enamorus, I think I always forget, the Incarnate form is going to be okay. I'd put it right under Sheer Force Landorus. I think it goes bottom of A+. I do think Tornadus is going to be S. You're going to need it. I don't want to put Regieleki there yet, because I think there's a lot of things that can handle Regieleki really well in the format, so we'll just see how that goes. Mousehold is going to be really good. Not as well, it can do well without Annihilate. I do think Indeedee is a better supporter. Garganacl, you gotta play it right. I never play them right, but if you play them right, they're really good. I'd put it above Wo-Chan. We're getting down here. We're almost done. We're almost done. Armorogue. Once again, so many Dark types. It still does have a place in the meta, but I don't think that place is very high up. I'd put it in C. Roll Edge can be good. I'd honestly put it above Spectre. Flash Fire ability is really good. Bitter Blade for recovery. Palafin has crashed. It has gone down a lot. That being said, I do think we could see it still doing well, just not as well. I'd put it over Hisuian Decidueye. It's definitely B still. It's still valid. Glamora is really good. Has the utility to set up spikes. It's not as good because Amoonguss is everywhere, but it does have a good wide variety of coverage moves. Mortal Spin can get some poisoning off, so like it can get the ball rolling in your direction if it's played right. I'm gonna put all the Tatsugiris together. I'm gonna put Dondozo together because you really can't do one without the other. And I definitely think they're B. Like the lines to play against them have been clearly established. And I will put I'll put one Tatsugiri above it because I feel like Storm Drain could be really useful. But then also, again, we've seen the bulky Dodonzo do well also. Annihilate. Top of B. No, it's an A. It's an A. You can't, like, it's still really good. It still can do really like great damage. It can sweep a team if they're not prepared for it or if you play it right. That being said, there is this guy here that is going to be able to completely wall it. I don't know if it's going to use that to win a match, but completely wall it. For Farigiraf, I think underrated. Being able to get Trick Room up, have Hyper Voice, Dazzling Gleam, Foul Play, all that stuff, I think is really good. I would put it in a category of its own. Put it right under Palafin. King Gambit is still really great mon. Can really get the ball rolling, operates in and like without Trick Room, and can just it can just be a serious problem. Great Tusk is definitely one of the A-mons. Very frail, but when it works, it works. I want to put it just right above Arcanine because I do think Water Urshifu is going to be able to destroy it. Screamtail is a great team player. It can be so obnoxious. I put it right under Golden Go. The only reason why it's not higher is because you need practice with the team, or you need like you need to make the right calls. Brute Bonnet is good, not that good. I'd put it high C. Fluttermane, you can't argue against it. It's an S tier. It's got 60% usage. Everyone plans for it, and it's still a problem. Slitherwing, I put it above Iron Valiant. Sandy Shocks has its ups and downs. I put it above Regidrago. Iron Treads. It's faster, but it's just not great Tusk. Bundle is A+. You just gotta play it right. The ability to have like a water Pokemon come on and like it has a chance to one-shot it with Freeze Dry. That being said, Hydro Pump is annoying. Iron Hands, easily A. I'd say top of A. It can just do so much, and it has so much variety. Jugs, Iron Jugs. I'd honestly put it higher than regular Hydreigon. Iron Moth is good, but we really haven't seen it do too much in a while. Put it at the bottom of B. Iron Thorns, as much as I would love it to be better, I don't think it is. That being said, it does have some niches. I'd put it above the useless Prankster mon now. Excalibur is still A. I put it right under King Gambit. And I'm going to put the Mousehold Annihilate above the Sun Abusers and Heatran. Heatran will have to see how it uses Terrestrialization, but I do think it could just be like kind of like Volcarona. Let's see. Is there any I would change? No, not as of now. I do think there could be other mons that go into S. But I feel like until we see how the metagame develops, like they'll sit in A+ and A. I do think Enamorus Therian could be better, especially with Overcoat, because like that takes away dealing with Amoonguss and Rage Powders and stuff. But then again, at the same time, like Ursaluna gets burned, so you don't have to deal with like you don't have to deal with Spore. But yeah, that is my quick semi-blind tier list. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What am I wrong on? Let me know in the comments down below. If you made it this far in the video, I want to say thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And have you gotten your 0-speed Ursaluna yet? I'm still working on my shiny one. Either way, that's going to be all. Till next time, I'm Zach. We'll see everyone later.